Data validation is a feature or tool in spreadsheet programs like Google Sheet or Microsoft Excel. So this feature controls what we enter in the cell. By default, these cells does not have any restriction. Now, how do you define a data validation rule? So let's see that uh, here in this column D1, let's put marks. Okay, so from cell range D2 till D10, let's say you want to enter, let's highlight the borders. Let's say you want to enter the marks of a student, uh, so you know that basically marks would be out of 100, and you want your marks to be from like 0 to 100. Sometimes people make fun of you, and they might end up writing like 101, they might end up writing like 150. So in this sort of situation, you will end up getting wrong numbers, I mean like wrong informations. So what can be done? You can set data validation rules here, so that you can control what users enter in this particular cell. So what can be done? You highlight the range, go to data, and there's a data validation option here. So we get this data validation rules pen to the right side of your screen. So you click on add rule, and by default we get this drop down, but for now we do not need drop down. We want is we want number between 0 to 101. Sometimes student may even score 100, so it should be maybe like -1 to 100. So let's see, is there a between? Yes, it's between. So between 0 to 100. So now you see we have defined a rule here for this range from D2 to D10. Now other cells, other cells we can type what in other cell. I mean like in other cells you can type whatever you want, but for this particular range you are not allowed to type whatever you want. You need to type a number between 0 and 100 because we have defined a rule here. And there's other options that you can customize. If you click on this advanced option, so if somebody puts invalid data, what do you want to display? So maybe by default they're giving this information, enter a number between 0 and 100. I think that's okay. But if you're not okay with this this warning message, or yes, warning message, or this message, you can customize your own message. You say enter only numbers between 0 and 100. So I have customized a bit here, and so this is the message that is going to pop up when users or anyone types a number which do not follow this rule, maybe a number greater than 100 or number less than 0, a negative number. If you put negative numbers, so it's going to show this message. And after showing this message, what do you want to do? If you want to keep that data input in these cells, these particular cells, then you can keep it show, or just show a warning and keep it. It's going to accept the data. For example, for now let's keep it to show a warning, and done. And now you see, if I type -12 here, you see I'm getting a message here. Input must be a number between 0 and 100. Yes, I'm getting a message, warning message here, or reminder here. So what can be done? But we are getting reminder and still it's accepting invalid data. So if you don't want that cell to accept invalid data, what can be done? Earlier we saw this only show a warning, so we can click on this reject the input. So if you click on this reject the input and click done, now it's not going to accept those numbers, I mean invalid numbers. Let's say 101, enter. There was a problem, enter only number between 0 and 100. Yeah, then again if you try with like 100, I think it should accept. We say between 0 and 100, so it's going to accept only number from 0 till 100. Other numbers it's not going to accept. So this many range we have the data validation rule applied here. Similarly, if you want to apply other rules in other columns like other cells or range, you can simply select the range, go to, if you do not have this pen shown up, you can go to data, click on data validation, and again you can add rules here. So by default is drop down, so I don't want drop down for now. As say, let's say text contains what now, text contain Bhutanese. not Bhutanese, let's say Bhutan. Text contains Bhutan. Show help text. Enter text that contains Bhutan. Done, and we need to reject the input. Done. So now this particular range is going to accept the text only if it contains Bhutan. So if you say like RBHU, RBHU, a but syllabus is not going to accept. We need a Bhutan. So our Bhutan syllabus is going to accept, or the Bhutan syllabus is going to accept. So anything like it's going to accept any kind of text if there is Bhutan. So like I am from Sejam Shawajan. If you keep it this, if you try to keep it this much, it's not going to accept. So you need Bhutan now. Bhutan Sejawaj is going to accept. Bhutan logo. So large example. You see, it's accepting. So let's try Andashkara accept but BHT Sejabe is not going to accept. So I hope you got the concept. Text container is only going to accept if there is Bhutan in the text. So that's how you define data validation. So there are so many data validation examples. Gender labbe, you try to highlight this one. Now let's see that here you want to apply data validation. Of course, gender of the male, male, female, freedom. You have the freedom, but sometimes people end up writing some other stuff like to make fun, like cows, and sometimes people make fun of it. So what can be done? We can control it by going to data, click on data validation, and click on add rule, and here we have a drop down option. Here option 1, there we can say male mush mush male female, and done. So now on the it's actually controlling what you want to write. Have select with you, but it actually controls what we type or what we insert in the cell. So that's all about data validation.